Welcome back. We've talked a lot about, as a review, many of you have know a lot of this, but I just want to do a review. We talked about sending and receiving. We talked about your subject line. That's critical that you get that correct every time. We talked about inserting, doing a screenshot. We've talked about your searching for messages, your themes, your picture. We're going to talk now about organizing your Gmail. Organizing your Gmail can be, you may think it's useless, but really in the long run, it's very important to organize your email so that you can find things. And that's the critical thing about putting in a subject line. With the subject line, I know, hey, this goes into 6th period. Boom. That's a world of difference for me. I have over 160 students, and it's really hard for me to sit there and remember who goes to what class period for attendance and grades and things like that. By having just that right here at the very beginning of your email that you send me, I can quickly sit there and go and put it in the correct folder, or actually label. That's what it's called in Google. And so it's critical that you take the moment to do that because it helps me organize it. But it's something that you can do also. Like this one. Now I need to take a moment and try to look this one up and figure out what class period is she in. That can be time consuming, and we're all short on time right now. So let's go back though. You can see I can go in here and I can put a star. A star is one way that I can sit there and go in there and do a search. I can also indicate on my email that I'm sending to you that it's important, and it may already get that star. Another thing I can do is click on here to make it important. So I've got it starred and important, but then I can go in and take those things out. Both of those can be very helpful because if I'm looking for all my starred emails, I can come right here and click on star, or all my important emails. Again, all of those things can help me in organizing and finding out where I'm wanting to put it. The other thing is, and in a little bit, we'll probably be creating some labels, is you'll want to create some labels, maybe for your math, maybe for 2021, the year 2020 to the year 2021. That's this school year. There's many ways that you could organize things to keep it where you can find it. But each one of you, you have to come up with your own personal way. So we've talked about using the markers and using the stars, deleting an email. Let's say maybe I want to delete this one here. I could click here and then come up here and click on the trash can. Or if I've got it open, I can again just come in here and click on the trash can in here, which I'm not seeing right now. Let's go back. They've been making some changes. It used to be they had it in there, but I can also see I have a trash can here. But I can also archive. And I've talked about archiving it the other day. Archiving is kind of odd. It's where it compresses. So it takes a big sheet like this and then just crumples it up really, really, really small. It takes out a lot of the spaces and things, so it takes up and uses less room. The one problem with archiving, though, is people forget that they archive it. And then they're like, well, where is it? How do I find it? This is a challenge, and sometimes it's a learning curve. If you've got emails that are 6 years old and you're like, man, I don't think I need this anymore, but I don't want to get rid of it, then you might want to archive it. Otherwise, I wouldn't recommend it. Snooze is where you can sit there and say, hey, I don't want to read this right now, but I want it to pop back up again in an hour to remind me. That's when you would do the snooze. So just a few things there. We've talked about deleting. We've talked about archiving. Just remember, when you delete something, it's only in there for 30 days. So be careful when you delete it. It is gone once you delete it. With other email programs like Outlook, Yahoo, when you delete it, it's still in the deleted for years until you delete the deleted, which is kind of confusing. But keep that in mind. All right, we've talked about the stars, we've talked about the labels, we've talked about important. Yes, labels. I was going to talk about that. Real quick, labels are a great way. With many other programs, they use what they call folders, where you're taking a folder and you're putting your document inside that folder and then closing it up. And then you may have several of those documents in that folder that are similar. It may deal with PE. It may deal with math. You may have a folder for each one of those subjects. Well, in Google, they don't call them folders, they call them labels. And the reason being, I may want to take my math assignment and may want to put a label on it for math. I may want to put a label on it called 2020, 2021. I may want to put a label on it saying important, due right away. There's many ways I could put multiple labels on an email, and that way I can find it. I can go through these different folders. If I can't remember what period I put it in, I could then look in different ways. This is the neat thing about Google, but let's move on. I want to create a new label, and this is going to be your assignment today. You're going to have to create a new label. Again, I know y'all did this last week. This will be super simple. See all settings, labels, create new label. Now, I want you to create a new label called Friends. That's it. Take a screenshot right now. Now, I'm going to do the Control-Shift F5 or the multi-screen key. You can see how everything's grayed out. And then with my cursor, I'm just going to do this. Now, copy to clipboard. Now, you can go ahead and create it if you think this would be useful for you. Otherwise, hit cancel. Let's go back up here to compose. Richard.Johnson@gcloud.tsd.org. Subject line. This time I want to use third period since I used first earlier. You use the class period you're assigned to. Pay attention. Assignment. We're going to call this Gmail label. And then just come over here. We're going to paste it in there and then hit send. Okay. Covered a lot of things today. We're going to do a little more review tomorrow, and then soon we'll be moving on. Just wanted to make sure you remember a lot of these things that we touched on and when I felt like we needed to spend more time with. I hope you're doing well. Keep me up to date. If you have questions, turn in your assignments. Make sure at all times you do the subject line. Look forward to seeing you soon. Take care.